Brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that some of our fathers, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with many of them, God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our what? These things were our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Read that out loud with me. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Listen to verse 7. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Verse 8, neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed. Hello somebody, and fell in one day 23,000. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by the serpents. Neither murmur ye, as some of them. Somebody say, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. I'm going to get my thought from verse 13, but I had to read all of that to put verse 13 in context. There hath now no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. My thought is coming from the portion of verse number 13 where he says, there hath no temptation taken you but such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you're able. And then he says, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape. I want to talk to you from the subject, a way to escape. And I want you just to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, get out. Come on now say it a little stronger. Say, neighbor, get out. One more time. Say it like their life depends on it. Say, get out. Today, I want to have a conversation with those that are struggling to survive. I want to talk to the people that are struggling to remain alive, to remain sane, to remain saved. You sanctified superheroes are not going to get anything out of this sermon. Is there anyone here that that is fighting to survive? That's what I thought. Anybody here agonizing over an immediate need? Anybody here worried about losing everything? Like keeping your head above water? Anybody here worried about keeping your mind out the gutter? If that's you, I need you to listen carefully, because the Lord has been talking to me about how to help you all week. I want you to write this down. Write this down. There is more. See, look, we got it on the screen now. Give God praise. Hallelujah. Go to the next slide. There we go. There is more to God than salvation. He is a healer. He's a revealer. He's a deliverer. He's a protector. And God is a first responder. And the Lord specializes literally in everything. He doesn't just wash our sins away. He doesn't just give us the ability to shout and dance and speak in other tongues. But God specializes in meeting our greatest needs and addressing our greatest temptations. Psalm 46:1 says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Hebrews 4:16 says, let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help when in time of need. Write this down. God can solve all of the problems and concerns we are facing today. However, we must trust him enough to allow him to direct us out and through our trials, our tribulations, and our temptations. I'm so glad that we don't serve a mountaintop God, that we don't serve a God that only is good when things are going well, but we serve a God that will meet us in the valley. We serve a God that will meet us in the unemployment line. We serve a God that will meet us in the gutter. We serve a God that will meet us in the crack house. Somebody say amen. Amen. Our job in times of trouble is to be on the lookout for the great escape. Whenever your back is against the wall and you just start looking, and people are going to say, what are you looking for? I'm looking for a great escape, because in this sermon we're going to explore God's ability to intervene on behalf of his saints. And God will intervene, and he will make a way for us to escape. And some of his deliverance happens suddenly, and some happen secretly. Sometimes God will bring you out and nobody will know that God brought you out. It just happened that fast. Sunday school students know that 1 Corinthians was written by an apostle named Paul. Paul wrote this letter to the church of God, which is at Corinth. He wrote to a people that were sanctified in Christ Jesus, that were called to be saints. Are there any saints in the house? Chapter number 10, the Apostle Paul was encouraging them and us to learn from the mistakes of the past. If we could just learn from the mistakes of the past, not our mistakes, but the mistakes of others. He was encouraging them to learn from the mistakes of the past, because in the Old Testament, Israel had a history of infidelity. They had a history of cheating on God. They had a history of betrayal. They had a history of unfaithfulness. They had a history of being disloyal Israel was the kind of nation that God had to know he could not trust, but he loved them anyway. When we read 1 Corinthians chapter number 10, we understand that Paul was reminding them that God did a lot of great things in the olden days. When you read the book of Exodus, for example, you learn a lot about what God did for Israel. But you have to keep reading to understand what they did in return for those blessings. He led them out of Egypt, yes, and he parted the Red Sea, and yes, he gave them manna, and yes, he gave them water in the middle of a desert. God was good to them. But how did they repay God? They repaid God by sinning. They repaid God by disregarding the favor and disregarding the blessings of God. And you know, we could talk bad about Israel, but we have done the same thing. If you look at the things that God has done for you, you look at how many ways the Lord has made for you and for I, we should be on the straight and narrow. But we haven't been. We've made stupid mistakes, and that's exactly what Israel did. They repaid God by doing the very things that God told them not to do. They did weird sexual things. They tested God. They complained constantly. They bowed in front of idols, and God took it to them. God smacked them, he slapped them upside the head, and he kept trying to prove to them that sin does not pay. It may feel good, it may be good to you, but it is not good for you. All of this happened as a warning to them, but it also happened as a warning to us. And he was trying, the Lord has preserved these experiences so that we know what not to do. We know the kind of things that we should not do to God. Everybody say, note to self. When you read the Old Testament, you should say, note to self. Don't cheat on God. Note to self. Obey God. We should do that. Don't try this stuff with God, because it never works. You don't get over on God. I mean, nobody has ever gotten over on God. Nobody can say, see, God, I got over on you. They would be like, in the movies, somebody thinks they celebrated, and then the next thing a big bus just go pow and knock them out. They're like, I made it, boom, the bus hits them. That's what happens when people think they have gotten over. I outsmarted God, boom, the bus hits them. Write this down. Nothing affects our relationships with God like sin. It always has, and it always will. I need you to tighten your seatbelts, because I am getting ready to preach about sin. Sin separates us from God. Sin angers God. Sin stops blessings. Sin divides us from God. Sin infects our relationships. Sin damages us. Sin stains us. God has made us white as snow, and then we take our white as snow lives and dip them in sin. Sin, see, if you don't believe me, read the Old Testament. Sin affected Adam and Eve. They had the perfect relationship with God until they sinned. Sin affected Abraham's marriage. He and Sarah had a good thing going until sin crept in. Sin soiled Moses' reputation as a young man. Moses had it made until sin kicked in. Sin ruined Solomon. Solomon had everything until sin stepped in. Sin separated the good kings from the bad ones. It was sin that cost the northern tribes of Israel their identity. Sin caused Judah and Jerusalem to be destroyed, and will do the same thing to us today. Oh, we live in this society. Anything goes. I can do what I want to do. They tripping at that church. I need you to understand that God still hates sin. Sin will destroy innocence. Sin will see an innocent little child and destroy it. Sin will corrupt a healthy marriage. You can have a good, healthy marriage, and sin will creep in, and the marriage will never be the same. Sin will ruin a good name. Sin will cause financial ruin. Romans chapter 6 verse 23 says it well. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. If you want to live a life that is broken, busted, and disgusted, entertain sin. I knew I was not going to get a bunch of amens this morning. I knew it. You start talking about sin, you're going to lose some amens, but that's all right. But if you want to live a life that is whole, if you want to live a life that is happy, if you want to live a life that is settled, live for God. You can live for God, and your life will be blessed. The point the Apostle Paul is making in our text is that we can learn from the mistakes of Israel. We can learn and we can avoid the pitfalls of sin. Listen to his warning in 1 Corinthians chapter number 10, verses 11 and 12. He says, now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore, let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. When you think you got it going on, when you think you know it all, when you think God is not looking, when you think you can get away with it, when you think it really doesn't matter, when you think everybody's already mad at you, so why? When you think you're all right, take heed lest you fall. That's when we mess up the most, is when we think we can do no wrong. Write this down. This will help you. Living for God is the best way to stay out of trouble. I know that wasn't deep, but it's true. Living for God. I'm talking to some young folk right now. Living for God. I'm talking to some young adults right now. Living for God. I'm talking to some grown folk. I'm talking to some old folk. I'm talking to some OGs right now. Living for God. Come on, I need some OGs to say, yeah, amen. You're right. You're right about that. It's real. You ain't got to say amen. Just say, yeah, it will. And living for God is the best way to stay out of trouble. His will steers us away from sin, and his will steers us away from most temptations, but it definitely steers us away from a whole lot of trouble. Shall I say it one more time? God will steer you away from a whole lot of trouble. There are children that will not be here right now. You know what I'm talking about. Despite popular opinion, it's good to be born and saved and sober. Oh, the world you just so saved. You just so say, yes, I'm saved, I'm single, I'm bored, but I'm saved. It's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. You bored, if you call my life boring, you can say this, ladies, whenever somebody makes fun of you for if you live in such a boring life, you say, okay, well, let's look at my life in comparison to yours. I'll take bored, saved, and sober all day long. It's good to be single and to be sanctified and to be drama-free and to be celibate. Everybody talking about you need a man. You need a man. Where is your man? And you just looking at them. As soon as they get through talking about, they're like, girl, my man been cheating on me. I wish I had a good man. Now you talk about I need one and I'm looking at you and you're trying to get rid of the one you got. No. You are good. I need some single sisters to say, no, I'm good. Yeah. I'll wait. Somebody, sisters just say, I'll wait. Amen. Because some of the folk trying to hook you up and they trying to hook you up with somebody don't nobody else want. Batista, you need to tell me to be quiet because I'm getting ready. He ain't had teeth in since 1932. And now they talking about he a good man. He can't even pronounce your name without spitting on you. Now if you're gonna hook me at least, does he have a good set of teeth? That's what I want to know. Where am I at? I'm at Church of Christ. I just want to know. And then people make you think like you don't have nothing. Hallelujah. Because you ain't sleeping with somebody that smell like a crack house. No. I will just go right to my home that smells fresh. I ain't got to worry about No, I'm all right. Somebody just shout, I'm good. Hallelujah. It's good. It's good to be married and to grow old together and to be submissive to a man that loves you and to love a woman that is submissive to you. Somebody say, that's good. The devil will make you think that's not enough. The devil will make you think what you need is something else. That ain't nothing but the devil. We got to learn how to love what the Lord has given us, and the Lord will bless us right where we are. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3 says, but I fear lest by any means as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. I need you to understand that Christ will simplify your life. He will simplify your life. Some of the stuff the world says you are missing, you don't need. God is trying to take that drama out of your life so that you can worship God freely, so that you can enjoy the rest of your days, so that you can sleep at night, so you don't have to worry about if he's coming home or not. You don't have to worry about if she cheating on you or not, because it's just you and Jesus. That's why somebody always say, I'm going to start going to church more. Why? Because you understand when you come to church more, God will simplify your life. And a lot of that riffraff, is that a word? A lot of that riffraff, God will take that riffraff out of your life and you look up and you'll be good. You're like, I haven't slept like this since when? Since the riffraff left. Bye. Let it go. Bye. Oh, you ain't gonna make it without me. Watch me. Ain't nobody gonna watch me. Watch me do better. And as soon as you start doing better, here he comes. That's my riffraff walk. What you doing tonight? Going to church? Can I come? I'll be there, but what side of the church you gonna be sitting on? Because once God delivers you from some things, you're not going to go back. Oh, that was not, what page was that on? Somebody say amen. I need you to keep all of this in mind. As we consider 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There are 5 clauses in this verse. Each one could be a sermon. The preachers say amen. Number 1, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. Whatever you're going through, somebody else is too. Number 2, but God is faithful. Number 3, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. Number 4, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape. That's the D clause. And the E clause, or the 5th clause, is that ye may be able to bear it. I want to lift the 4th clause where he says, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape. Write this down. This is going to help you tomorrow. God's faithfulness helps us stay saved. God will help you stay saved. Somebody say he's a keeper. He's a keeper. God promises to help us even with the temptations we all face from time to time. I told you all, don't bring your masks to church anymore. Because we're all tempted. You should write down these three scriptures in Matthew chapter 16, verse 23, James chapter 4, verse number 7, and 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. I write this down because there are three ways to handle our temptations. Three ways to handle our temptations. Number one is to rebuke the devil. Number two is to resist the devil. Number three is to run. Somebody say run. Oh Lord, I just lost some old amens. Listen, let me tell you something. Matthew chapter 16 verse 23. We learn how to rebuke the devil. Jesus said, get thee behind me, Satan. Sometimes you don't want Satan behind you. Sometimes you need Satan right where you can see him. That doesn't always work. James says we got to resist the devil and he will flee. And sometimes you push and he flees, but he comes back. But Paul told Timothy, you got to flee from youthful lusts. Somebody say sometimes you got to run. You got to run fast. You got to scram. There's an old word. You got to scram. You got to get gone. Tell your neighbor, get gone. Sometimes running from a temptation is God's escape plan. You just got to run because we get ourselves into situations. I need y'all to help me. I'm getting nervous. It's too quiet in here. Just tell your neighbor, fleeing works. Fleeing works. Am I in the right place? Fleeing works. You just got to run. You get yourself into a jam and you just got to run. That's my running from sin run. You just got to run. I got to go. Where you going? I just got to go. Run, Forrest, run. Get away from that sin. Get away from that girl. Get away from that boy. Get away from that man. Get out of that house. Get away from those people. Get out of that job. You just got to go. Where you go? I'm running. I'm running from my life. I'm running from my relationship with God. I have too much at stake to stay here. I'm running. Somebody shall run. Let me just tell you, you gotta run. And as you run, don't see something. This is what gets a lot of people in trouble. We get in trouble because we try to be a hero. Sometimes you can't be a hero. You just gotta run. You just gotta get out. Let them figure out you gone. They're gonna be like, hey man, you see Pookie? We ain't seen Pookie in a minute. Oh man, I heard Pookie over at the church, man. Oh man, I sure miss Pookie, especially on payday. Let them miss you. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to go back to the club. I'm gonna go to the club. I'm gonna go to my old spot, and I'm gonna leave my testimony. Excuse me, Mr. DJ. Give me the mic, I have something to say. The DJ is going to say, all right, here's the mic. This is what we have in our mind. We imagine it this way. Excuse me, listen, I know that I used to come to this club frequently, but I'm saved now. I'm sanctified. Hey, good to see you. I'm righteous now, and I have been born again. And I'm a man of God, and I will not be coming back to this place anymore. And all of you should follow me to the church and be born again. Somebody say, don't do that. It may be years before you go back there. Because what the devil gonna do, he gonna take that mic and gonna say, all right, I'm glad to hear that you've been born again, but let me play one more song for you on your way out. Always and forever. You're like, oh no, that's my song. That's my song. And on your way out, here come Idris Alba talking about, you wanna dance? You want to dance? How about Denzel? You want to dance? Oh, I'm at Church of Christ. How about Billy D. Williams? Just come on. You know you're at a multi-generation church when you're pulling out Billy D. Williams in the illustration. I'm just saying, you want to dance? I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and you trying to be a hero, trying to stand up and Satan will turn your good intentions into a trap. Next time we see you, you done fallen all back into sin. Somebody said, don't do that. We got to learn how to say to ourselves, I got a goal. I have to get out of here. I have to separate. I feel something creeping up in my flesh and I need to get out of here. I've been here too long. I've been on this phone too long. I gotta go. Where you going? I don't know, but I gotta go. Somebody said, I gotta go. Hallelujah. If you're not saved yet, I need to encourage you to get saved for real, because your life depends on it. God brought you here today so that you could start a new life with Him. God brought you here today so that once and for all you could drop it all and sell out for Jesus. God brought you here today so that you could start your own testimony, because with salvation will come the self-control you so desperately need. When God saves you, He gives you self-control. God will make a good man out of you. God will make a good woman out of you. God will make a good boy out of you. God will make a good girl out of you. When God finishes with you, you will have to beat dudes off with a stick. Get off, get back, get back. You didn't want me when I was in the street. Why you want me now? Somebody shout, it's the God in you. God will make you fine. God will make you handsome. God will make you strong. God will make you good. With salvation will come the new beginning that is unique to Jesus. Paul says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. All things have fallen off. Behold, all things are become new. I wish I could get somebody to help me preach and tell me if that's true, that God will make all things become new. Your walk will change. Your talk will change. Your attitude will change. Your outlook will change. Everything about you will change. Your friends will change. Your conversation will change. Your computer will change. Your search engine will change. The places I used to go, I don't go anymore. The things I used to say, I don't say anymore. That's not just a cliche. Somebody shout, it's true. Hallelujah. I'm almost done. But the Greek word for escape is epixish, which means an egress. It means a way out. It means an exit. And today God is saying to the church that He will make a way of escape from whatever struggle we are facing. He will make a way of escape from sin. He will make a way of escape from the temptation to sin. He will make a way to escape, hallelujah, out of fornication. And He will make a way to escape from the temptation to fornicate. He'll take that thing off your mind. Hallelujah. He will make an exit from generational curses. He will break you free from all addictions. He will break you free from unhealthy coping mechanisms. He will give you a way to escape from overspending. He will give you an escape from overeating. He will give you an escape from undereating. He will. Somebody shout. He will. I better close this sermon. to get out. Don't be a hero when God opens a door for you to get out. Shut your mouth when God opens a door for you to get out. Don't try to explain. That's not a time for you to prophesy. That's not a time for you to leave your testimony. I need somebody to help me preach and shout, get out. When God opens a way for you to escape, I need you to remember this sermon and get out. Get out of trouble. Get out of your problems. Get out of difficulties. Somebody shout out, out, out. Come on, out, 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 out. Come on, help me preach. Look at your neighbor and say, get out, get out, get out. Get out, get out, get out. Get out of that thing. Don't stay there too long because it's a trap. That temptation is going to mess you up. It's going to lead you down a wrong path. One more time. Somebody shout, get out. I got to break it down this way. I was in the Sunday school this morning. I was in a Sunday school class, and my dear sister was explaining how she was dealing with the grief of losing her mother. Where's she at? Where's she at? Hallelujah. She was talking about how she felt that her mother was gone, and she's still dealing with the difficulty of piecing her life together without her mother. And every now and then, while she was talking, the tears rolled down her face, and one student moved her seat and sat next to her. I need you to understand that the temptation that Paul is talking about are temptations that are common to man. Somebody say a common thing. So she felt like she was the only one, she felt like she was the only person that is missing her mother. But I need you to help, I need y'all to help me. Everybody here that's missing your mother, would you please stand up? It's a common thing. You're not going through this by yourself. You just thought you were. But in the middle of your grief, God just showed you a way to escape. So all you gotta do is find one of these folks, and they will help you take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Because what you're going through is common to man. You just thought it was you. Somebody give God the praise. Come on, be ready. She was on her way to depression. She was on her way to suicidal thoughts. She was on her way to giving up. But she came to church this morning, and God just sent her a way out. All she's got to do is get out. Somebody say yes. You're not the only one to struggle with your identity. You're not the only one who has a homosexual child. You're not the only one who has a promiscuous child. You're not the only one with children in drugs. You're not the only one that has lost her job. You're not the only one that has gone through a bitter divorce. You're not the only one that is questioning your salvation. You're not the only one that is thinking about giving up. But God loves you so much that it brought you to church this morning to show you that you can. you should remove yourself from that toxic environment. Perhaps you should rethink your involvement in the risque behavior that comes along with that kind of company. Have you considered a more practical approach to dealing with the things that have been plaguing your family for many generations? Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. How am I going to get out? I'm glad you asked. The Lord will, with the temptation, make a way to separate you from the temptation. And he calls that way an escape. You can escape whatever you're going through, however you feel. You just have to be on the lookout. So when God opens that door for you to escape, people will say, where are you? They're still stuck. And they're going to be pounding on, can I do this illustration? They're going to be pounding on the wall. Where are you? Where are you? Because when God opened the door for you to get out, he closed it. They're going to say, where are you? Where are you? And you're going to say, I'm out. How did you stop smoking? I'm out. How did you stop drinking? I'm out. How did you stop doing that? I'm out. And when you realize you're out, they can blow the wall up. You ain't going back. Somebody give God praise if you're out. Praise him like you are out. Praise him like you know he made a way for you to escape. He arrested that dude just so you could get out. He arrested her just so you could get out. She cheated with your boyfriend just so you. Somebody shout, I'm out. Let me just say that you're not alone. And when you come out, you're going to look up and you're going to be surprised. Just as she was surprised by how many people stood up, you're going to be surprised by how many people the Lord, how many saints called to be saints, that still rely on God to make a way to escape. Saints, Lord, make a way. Before we close this service, as the ministers take their place, the altar workers take their place, while I was preaching, there are many of you who heard the voice of the Lord, felt the leading of the Lord, that this was a life-changing message for you, and this is a life-changing moment for you. While every head is bowed and every eye is closed, this is the moment you've been waiting for.